afternoon. To all the distinguished guests, President Warden, Dr. Atwater, all the trustees, our alumni, thank you for the invitation of being here on homecoming weekend. I don't take it lightly that you would invite me to speak today, so thank you to the Black Alumni Association for inviting me to be the keynote speaker for today. As Brandon stated, I finished here, graduated here in 2017 with my bachelor's in IT and went on to pursue higher education at UNC Charlotte, and then this year completed my doctorate degree from North Carolina A&T. I think it's important to note that even as we continue in this pursuit of higher education, as Chae mentioned, her pursuits, her desires to do so, that we consider the fact that it is important that we do give back, that we do come back. And that's one of the reasons why, as Brandon stated, that I do try to go home to my hometown, Montgomery County. I was just there last weekend speaking to some community college students about the importance of higher education, the importance of setting goals, right? And so, not to belabor the time, I told Brandon I was going to be short and brief. If you're familiar with a good preacher, you know they always say, I won't be before you very long. So I won't be before you very long. And so currently, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I work as a senior adjunct at Duke Energy, the job that I was afforded once I completed my undergraduate degree here at Methodist University. They provided great benefits for me outside of the salary. That takes good care of me. They actually paid for my master's degree and my PhD. So I am student loan debt free. I didn't finish debt free when I graduated Methodist, but I took care of those pretty soon. So I'm honored to be given the task of providing inspirational words on today to such an esteemed group of people, right? We have faculty, staff, alumni, and the likes. And before I thrust into what I want to talk to you all about, I want to commend you all for those who have achieved higher education at any level. I looked at some stats because it's no small feat to complete higher education. Society will tell us that everyone is getting a bachelor's degree these days. Everyone has higher education, but I looked at some census data, and it says that among Black adults, 25 or older, 17.3% as of 2022 have bachelor's degrees. 8.1% have master's, 1% professional degrees, and 1.5% doctoral degrees. No matter what level you have completed thus far, you're in elite company. And so since degrees have been conferred, there are some considerations that, as our topic of today's event is legacy and color, voices of impact, I think there are 5 considerations that we have to make, and they all begin with the letter C. So I just want to leave you with these 5. We all have choices to make, choices that drive who we are, what we do, who we are to become, where we go. Our choices have more implications than not studying and getting a bad grade at this point in our lives. It has more to do with than just, do I go to the calf, or do I go buy Chick-fil-A, or do I go down the street to get a cookout tray? They've inflated the prices a little bit. I think they were about $5 when I was in school, and so that was a good college meal. I went a few weeks ago, and it was about $10. I said, this is crazy what inflation is doing to us. But our choices impact communities, the livelihood of our families, for generations, corporations, universities, institutions, so much more. These are the power of our choices. We must make sure that our choices align with a life worth living. Choices that signify that we live on and in purpose. Choices that show our priorities are aligned with someone that has more thought for something other than themselves, but for the people that we serve, the communities that we live in. As Dr. Warden said, this is a university of the people. And so that is something that we have to consider, that our choices are bigger than ourselves. I tell students, and when I'm going back and giving back to communities, your priorities either promote or postpone your success. The second one is challenges. Challenges are inevitable. The bills will come and are coming, including student loans, which we won't say what decisions contributed to that. Tragedies, accidents, wars, plagues, and pandemics, all inevitable things. But challenges are not just difficulties that we face. Challenges are actually opportunities for voices of impact to make a difference. Challenges also speak to the problems that we solve. It speaks to something bigger than ourselves, something that we must all come to face the realities of. Challenges such as racial injustice, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or the lack thereof, workplace discrimination, those who have yet to be housed, and who better to face those challenges than the people who are sitting in this room? To the people that are attending and going to pursue higher education. Which leads me to my next theme. We're almost there. Convictions. The quality of showing that one is firmly convinced of what one believes or says. What convictions do you have? What do you believe? What do you stand for? What cause? What are you fighting for? Who are you fighting for? What beliefs do you hold so tightly to the core of who you are? There's a saying that suggests if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I encourage you to fight for something. Believe in something. And for someone else. Causes. The principal aim or movement that because of a deep commitment, one is prepared to defend or advocate. Convictions have a lot to do with ourselves, but causes speak to movements that are impacting other people outside of ourselves. And as we stand on our convictions, we move into causes. Causes such as gathering Black alumni to come back together and give back to students who are pursuing the same endeavors that they once embarked on. Causes such as being the first African American student to walk the halls and graduate from an institution. Causes like ensuring young African Americans and other minorities will pursue higher education and make a difference in their communities. It's the causes that drive us to make change. As voices of impact, we are to make change. While being a voice of impact is important, I think we have to take it a step further, to not just no longer being just a voice, but to putting our hands to the plow, to actually putting pen to policy, to implementing change and reformation of systems, changing things so that the things that we went through, the things that we experienced, no longer will future generations have to endure those things. It's entering rooms knowing that, yes, I may deal with or wrestle with imposter syndrome, but there's a Jay that is in class waiting on someone like myself to walk into that room and implement change so that she doesn't have to experience some of the inequities and injustices that I had to experience. Change begins with us. It begins with us because we have the opportunity to make a difference, to make an impact. We're to be thermostats and not thermometers. We're to set the temperature when we walk in the room. That says, I may be the only person that looks like me when I walk in this boardroom, but because I'm here, other people will enter this room as well. It's putting pen to policy, as I said, but also dollars to causes. And so in conclusion, I believe that these 5 things, these 5 C's are things that we must be aware of, not only as Black alumni, but just alumni in general and those who have pursued higher education. History informs us that those who have made the choice to embrace the challenges, standing firm on their convictions, leading to causes and spearheading them to provoke change, are those that make a difference. And so it is important that we understand that it is about leaving a legacy that supersedes or outlives us, that is more than just our own human existence, that once we leave here, we know that we made a difference. We have to be aware that it's bigger than us. It's about the people that we innovate for and pioneer for, so that they drive on the roads that we paved. Voices of change don't just sit back and wait for challenges to arise or opportunities to present themselves. No, they make the opportunity. They set the tone. They create them. And so I encourage us all as voices of impact to let our voices reverberate and echo throughout the respective places and spheres that we are situated in. Whether it be in healthcare, whether it be in information technology or higher education, let us make the difference where we are. We've all been called to respective places, and so wherever it is that we have been planted and seated for such a time as this, let us go and make a difference. Thank you.